Peace to the family, peace to my comrades, and it is always smoke to the enemy. Smoke to the COINTELPRO boxing fan family. If you can hear me, please give me a one. Shout out to the sensei, the teacher, Stormy B Man. Shout out to my comrade Patrice X30. I think I seen my brother Kondo in here. Let me go back up. Y'all bear with me. It's my first time using this software. We're going to see if this is a fit for Coach. Yep. Shout out to Kondo. The mighty LDBC is in the house. We're going to talk some boxing. All right. So everyone can hear me. Cool. I'm on the desktop for the first time doing the live. So sometimes I'll be able to see your chat. Sometimes I won't. I'm going to be moving a lot of content around on my desktop because I wanted to give this to the family a while ago, but I had to get some things in order. I had to find some old tapes, etc. And the question is, how can we get our kids into boxing and protect them? And I just want to say that, when you put your child in boxing, as long as they are in boxing, it is a life journey of trying to protect them. If you all look at the picture that I have on the screen, that is the man with the face all swollen up. That is Billy Collins. And Billy Collins was going against a man by the name of Luis, I think it's Resto. And Luis had loaded gloves. Okay. Now, we always talk about the commission this, the commission that. Anytime it looks like one of our fighters might be getting cheated against, people always use that excuse that the commission is supposed to check the gloves. But if you look over history in the sport of boxing, I know and you know that the people that usually catch the gloves being loaded is a trainer or a coach. And it was this man's father. It was Billy Collins' father who realized that this man's gloves are loaded. And this is a tragic story. What happened to this man after this fight. And while people are running around making up these false narratives about no running rules, there has been no real drive to have a no cheating rule, a no PED rule. Fighters are being unalived every year. And because they are not at the very top of the sport, a lot of times we don't hear about it. But they want you to believe that our elite fighters, especially elite American black fighters, are the reason why boxing isn't moving forward, or that is the reason boxing is doing bad. So, not to get too deep into that, for the family that watches this live that does not know, who I am Coach Hudson. I'm not someone who loves boxing and decided to get on YouTube and call myself a coach. In this live, I'm going to go over some things that are very personal, so that people who want to go down this journey, you know what you're signing up for. Salute to the Queen, Shaquilla Fields. So listen, family. If you look at the other picture, I'm standing next to one of the first fighters I trained. All right. His name is Aaron Pelafox. He's a 125 pounder national contender. Came to me at the age of 14. By the age of 15, he was boxing at nationals. After training him for about a year, I got severely sick. I had a terminal illness, but by the grace of God, I beat that illness. I'm much better, and I'm still here. But when that happened, my two gyms that were in Kennesaw, Georgia, I closed down and I had to heal. So a lot of my fighters for their first, second, third fights were at either Lugo's boxing gym. I know Aaron went to Coach Lugo, and I have another fighter, Daniel. I was able to take him to his first fight, which I will show you all clips of that a little later on. But how do we protect our fighters? And boxing, as we know it, as you all know it, is changing. There was a time where if you were an Olympian, we knew that when you came home, you were going to probably be the next thing to shake up the world. Look at the amazing fighters that we have had come out of the Olympics, come from the USA boxing team, from Muhammad Ali, Roy Jones, Pernell Whitaker, Oscar De La Hoya. The list goes on and on. Not only that, Akano said kids today are into the NBA and NFL. Kids into boxing mostly because of their parents. We're going to get into that as well. Because you all hear Coach talk about the COINTELPRO boxing fan a lot of times. Well, there was also a COINTELPRO, peace, Queen Tay. There was also an effort to take the resources away from the community from building a champion. So Akando said, kids are more into the NFL and the NBA now. But what if I told you that there was a time where our children were more into baseball and boxing? It's not that long ago. You see, you have to understand that the NFL and the NBA were desegregated way after, of course, boxing. And then we had our baseball Negro leagues. So when it looked like things would be more profitable for them to start taking on black talent, like always, we fall for the same trick and we send them our best. And we allow people to continue to suck off the breasts of the black community, suck off the breast of black talent. We allow them to take it from us. And we no longer have the Negro Baseball League. Now, some might say, well, that's not something that is realistic. What is Ice Cube and the Big Three right now as we speak? So don't tell me that we couldn't have kept our leagues, because Ice Cube is showing you right now that we do not need anybody but each other. But a lot of our own people don't understand that. But that's another topic. Let's get into this boxing. They shut down a lot of the community centers. They took the Army boxing team, they completely took it out the military, y'all. Check this out. And I'm going to show you all a clip in a second of me boxing as a youngin'. But check this out. Right before I was going to box for the Army, they completely cut funding for it. Completely cut funding for it. I was trying to go to I was preparing so I could go to the 2012 Olympics. And they completely cut the funding. I was in the military and no longer would get funding to train. All right. So you got the Army's gone. And, Joe Louis came from the Army boxing team. You got, there used to be leagues at the public schools. They took those out as well. So you start seeing this effort of these sports that we are in the public school system. Same time they took wood shop out. They took mechanics out. See, what you have to understand is there was a time where a man could graduate high school and still make a living for his family. So when you have a man who has the discipline of boxing, has a trade under his belt as well that he learned in high school, That's a hard brother to deal with. And you see that the very character and moral compass of some of our supposed to be best fighters, they don't have the same almost mental strength, and they definitely, a lot of them are not on code. So people are saying, well, USA Boxing, let's see. Let's see what it says. So I went to Google. I'm going to share another one with you all. I want to share with you all what Google says about Patrice X30s. Broke my heart to see that Jeff, a small hat white, co-owns the Big Three League with Ice Cube. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate, and that might be a price that will have to be paid later. But look at this, family. Bear with me. I'm trying to figure out how to share this thing. All right, so look, I went to Google and I asked Google about the USA boxing teams. All right, and why we are not winning medals like we used to have. Okay, it's a little delay, but let's see what it says. Should be popping up on you all's end shortly. All right, it says a decline in popularity, a lack of centralized coaching. Now I want to focus on that for just a second. If you look at that, what they're saying is, in America, as wealthy as we are, as organized as we should be, our USA boxing team does not have a centralized coaching system. So if any of you, did anyone go see the Clarissa Shields movie? Did anybody go see the Clarissa Shields movie? In the Clarissa Shields movie, they show you up front, which I'm glad she put this in the movie. When Clarissa gets with the coach of the USA boxing team, they instruct Clarissa that her coach can't come, which should be automatic, but her coach can't come. And the directions that that coach is giving Clarissa the first time she goes against Savannah Marshall is not the way she fights, which makes Clarissa even more amazing for her to be able to pass the test that she still passed. Every other major country has a centralized coaching system for their team. And family, pay attention, because this is all going to circle back around. Now, when you look at a team like Ukraine, all right, yes, Patrice, original coach, was black. If you go to Ukraine's boxing system, all of their coaches are on the same page. Now, our problem is we have so many different styles that by the time our kids get to the USA boxing coaches, a lot of times they want them fighting a way they don't even fight. See? So now we're not winning medals like we used to. So funding is going down again and again. Every 4 years, funding's going down. We're not placing gold like we used to. Like the amazing USA boxing teams that we had in the 80s and maybe one or two in the early 90s. So there is an effort, people. There is an effort to change the foundation that was laid for us. So look, how do you take your child and put them in the sport and protect them? All right. Well, let's take a look at something. All right. I just want you all to look at this with me real quick. We're going to stop sharing that. Okay. Bear with me, family. I'm getting better at it. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to share this with you all right here.
Get him, Brady. Come on, Brady.
All right, family, you get the point. So let me let that disappear. So that video is a very old video of one of the first times that I sparred as a fighter. My coach was Pete Crumpley from Cincinnati. He is from the gym that Adrian Bronner and his brother boxed at when they were younger. Pete Crumpley came down to Atlanta, opened up the gym. If you all go back and watch the All Access episode of Tyrone Woodley versus Jake Paul, that the gym that he's in, that is his gym. That's Pete's gym in Smyrna, Champs Boxing Gym. So when I came in boxing, I started off as a wrestler in high school, a very good wrestler. Went to the military, started doing combatives. I joined the military when I was 17 and decided that I wanted to box. And that was my first coach. What I learned in that young age is that, like Okondo said, see, I wanted to fight. So we're just going to stop this now. If you have a child or you have a nephew or niece, people in the neighborhood you think will be great fighters, you really have to have an honest conversation with them and say, hey, do you even really want to fight? Because if these fighters don't really want to fight, let's say they're amazing. Let's say they do go to the Olympics or they become 10-time national champions. If they go pro, their mental is going to crash on them because they don't really want to fight. How many fighters right now are claiming mental issues and it's looking like they don't really want to fight at all? Hello. Everybody don't speak too fast. How many fighters have we heard from that now they have mental issues? They need to take a year break, 2-year break, right? So, before we go down this road and you're thinking about putting a child in the sport of boxing, you need to have an honest conversation with them about this. All right. Now, I'm going to share with you all. Yes, Patrice, I believe that as well. I believe that Tank started boxing out of, just survival and having and being angry. But what we have to understand as a people is that just because a person is combative does not mean they want to box. Let me say that again. Just because a child is combative does not mean they want to box. Being combative comes out of survival mode. Okay, that's just like some women think that all street guys are masculine when some of them are just combative because they are operating out of a survival mode. It does not mean he is masculine. It's two different things, and it always comes out when people are at the biggest moments in their life and the pressure gets heavy. Salute Joseph Townsend. So Tank will be a great example. And he told you, what did Tank tell y'all? He said, I'm sorry, what did Tank tell us? I should say, what did he tell us? Tank told us that, hey, man, I want to get this fight out of me. I might need to take a mental break. Is that right? Patrice X30, were you able to watch the video? Did you see the video I just showed? But yeah, that mental health, kicks in. And this journey that we're about to go over together, I want you to understand, and you will, once you see everything I'm going to show you, you're going to understand why I get so upset with our own brothers who always want to go against the grain. So I'm going to show you all another video, and I want you all to see, I'm going to show you clips of two of my best fighters. And this is years ago, y'all. This is years ago. I closed my gym down in Kennesaw, Georgia. I closed it down 2 years ago. But I had two gyms. I operated them by myself for 3 years. All right. But two of my most decorated fighters is the gentleman that's standing with me, Aaron Palafox, and my other fighter, Daniel Starks. All right. So look, we're going to pull this clip up. Bear with me. I'm going to share it. Go to Chrome tab. Why is July 8th? Here we go, y'all.
They tell you what they do. I'm a preacher. That's a title. Don't
family. Do you all see the? Okay, yeah, I see you.
The express image of his person. I am the personification of his praise. I'm a preacher. They tell you what they do. I'm a preacher. That's a title. That's a title. Don't confuse titles with purpose. I am the express image of his person. I am the personification of grace. I am the head with the divinity of humanity. I am the expression of God's ability to inhabit that which is human. I am the wind of God is flesh. The thought and soul of God. My purpose is to reflect Him in the earth. So I try to tell you what He would tell you. Speak to you like He would speak to you. Handle you like He would handle you. Like you are not. That's the side. Supposed to express.
Come on, Dad. Come on, Dad.
All right, family. I hope you all were able to see that video well. If you notice, hold on, family. Got some noise coming from somewhere else. Okay, so the video that I just played, those are the two fighters I was telling you about. When the video first starts, that is like the first maybe 3 months of them training. And I was able to take them from that to what you saw at the end when they were competing. Aaron, he won his first 2 matches. Daniel, he lost his first match due to a standing 8 count, which you saw him, he got hit with at the end. But before that, he was beating that guy down. I mean, he was catching and shooting with him. He was slipping at him, hitting him with uppercuts. And if you hear towards the end, the guy in the background says, "Oh man, his legs wobble." He was talking about his opponent. His legs had wobbled, which I just want to recognize this real quick. My fighter Daniel had really good feet. Really good feet. He would hit a person, but then he would get too far out. If he would have just followed up with a hook when he had him in that corner, that guy would have been, his first fight, he would have stopped the guy with headgear and 16-ounce gloves on, which would have been crazy. But he got tired, got sloppy, put his hands down, and he lost his first fight. But I know that, that's just part of the growing pains. But why do I show you this? I show you this because I want you to know that those 2 gentlemen and all the fighters that I've ever trained, none of them, listen to me, none of them have been hurt under my watch. And this is very important because before we even go over this and really get into how you protect your child, you need to make sure that you're dealing with a coach that cares about your child's health. There is a lot of goofy stuff that we've seen over the years, and casual boxing fans and just the casual public, the people who don't know boxing like that, they think that it's normal to come off the street and get in the ring with a boxer because you done won a few fights in high school. Okay? That is not, it's just not realistic. you can be unalived, you can be paralyzed. Yeah, you can lose your life in a boxing gym. So in one of the clips of that video, I call it a pressure drill. I have the body harness on, and every time my fighter hits the body harness, I throw something back, right? So he expects the counter. Some people feel that these boys at the young age that they're at, that they need to be getting hit with real shots hard during sparring. That is how you destroy a fighter and burn them out. There are great fighters all over this country, but a lot of them are burned out in the amateurs from hard sparring. I don't believe in that, and I'm going to tell you why I don't believe in hard sparring. And see, this is part of the centralized coaching system that we do not have for the USA boxing team, and these different theories instead of us all getting on one accord. So if you want to pick up the mantle, if you want to be able to do this for your child, I'm going to tell you how. Because what I can tell you is if you get this knowledge here and you take the knowledge that Bill Haney has done for his son and you put them together, we will revolutionize the top black fighter, plain and simple. Because we no longer have to go to the plantation and sign with these guys and sign with these snakes and liars that turn on us as soon as they no longer can suck on the tit of our resources. As long as black women keep having babies, we gonna have talent. But we need to make sure that we're doing what we need to do so the next generation doesn't have to put up with more crap. That's why a lot of these brothers are getting their wake-up call. So let's get into it, because I can talk about that other stuff once we get into it. But USA Boxing, let me share this with you. I'm getting better. I'm getting faster. I promise. I promise I'm getting better. I'm getting faster. Okay. Share. Boom. All right. Let's start here. All right. In terms of safety, do you trust non-white coaches training our black youth boxers? I feel they put our youth in situations of unnecessary punishment. I'm gonna answer that question in just a second. So before I answer that question, which is a great question, let's say, because some of you have asked me, and some of you who might not be in the chat, but you're gonna watch this live later. You asked me, well, coach, how do I get into boxing? Or you've asked me, how do I get my child into boxing? Okay. You don't even have to be a member yet. You can go to the USA Boxing website that looks like this, what I put on the screen. And I picked California because California has a ridiculous amount of events. All right. If you want to see some real boxing, okay, and you just want to be entertained, go to one of these USA Boxing events. Some things might piss you off, I'm going to tell you now. Okay, some of that judging might piss you off, but you will see some action. Okay? But if you scroll down on this USA Boxing events page, it shows you every single event that's going to happen. Now, why do I bring this up? If you're thinking about putting a child in boxing, you need to take them to a few of these events first. Usually that right there is the first line of defense. They want to do this or they are deterred from doing this once they see what it's really like up close. Okay. That is why when a lot of people, to answer your question, Patrice, to be honest with you, I want to be completely honest, okay? When it comes to coaches, there is, oh man, there is a pattern and a toxic, ego-driven pattern that they feel some of our boys need to be in the doghouse so they can get what it feels. Now, I just want to talk about, because this is my theory, because I know people have different theories. When you are becoming a soldier, or you're becoming one of the best fighters in the world, in the military, whether it's special forces or whatever, they do not try to destroy your actual body before it's time when they actually need your body to perform. Boxing is the only sport where I've seen guys getting unnecessary concussions in sparring. And some might say, well, that's just part of sparring, That's BS. If you listen to the great old trainers of back in the day, whether it's Eddie Futch, Dundee, all of these great trainers, they will tell you that there is no reason. Sparring is supposed to be you learning your mistakes. Yeah, you might get popped to the head, but a fighter getting a concussion, getting knocked out is completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. Because when you get knocked out and you get a concussion, what we have to understand is that takes a piece of that fighter out. So I don't even think it is a color thing necessarily with these coaches. I believe that a lot of these coaches are in it for themselves. A lot of them want to get that fighter that's going to propel their gym, propel them into the spotlight. Think about it now. You got thousands of coaches, right? And everybody wants to be on TV. Everybody wants to be that one that now Ellie Setback is in their face. Now the journalists, the mainstream journalists are asking them questions. You know, everybody wants that spotlight. Everybody wants to be Robert Garcia. Everybody wants to be Calvin Ford. Everybody wants to be Virgil Hunter. But that takes a lifetime of work. Okay? So take them to one of these USA boxing events. Okay? Step 2. This is what you need to do. After you go to an event on this same website, let me see something. Yep. Sounds like AAU B-ball. See, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now on this right here, it shows you on the USA Boxing page, it shows you USA Boxing approved gyms. This is very important, what I'm about to say. And for everyone who watches this later, if you don't listen to nothing else I say, and you're thinking about putting your child into the gym, I had a father walk into my gym. And the young man you see right here in this picture with me, who, later boxed for Coach Lugo, and anyone in Georgia that's in boxing, you know who Coach Lugo is, okay? That's the last gym he boxed at. Aaron no longer boxes. But a father comes into my gym with his son. And his son, the father is saying, well, he was trained by Coach Ford. And he knows this person and that person. And he's name dropping and all of this. Let me tell you something, people. On the battlefield, name dropping ain't gonna save you. On the battlefield, I can yell out General Patton. I can yell out General Colin Powell. I can yell out Bush. That's not going to stop the enemy from trying to take my life. So I tried to explain to the father. I said, because the father thought it was sweet. He came down to Georgia, and see, my gym was North Georgia. I was far from the city. My second gym was in Ackworth, Georgia. So I could tell that the father thought that all my boys were soft, right? And for whatever reason, he wanted to fight this one, All right. Now, what you don't know about Aaron is when Aaron first came to me, yes, he was flat-footed. But Aaron got one of the meanest right hands I have ever felt. And I have done pad work with heavyweights. Aaron hit me one day so hard. It felt like my nervous system was glitching. Okay. And if he would have landed in the right spot, he probably would have knocked me out. I'm getting sick just thinking about it. But the father says he wants to box with Aaron. So I try to tell him, I say, hey, man, I don't think that's a good idea. But the father don't care. He still has hyped his son up to basically bite off more than he can chew. He gets in there. I tell Aaron, take it easy on him. We're just going to do some light sparring. The father, and this is for you, Patrice, the father tells the son, go hard. So I give Aaron instruction when he comes back to the corner. I say, listen, I want you to go light. But if he pushes you and he starts doing that wild stuff, I want you to put him down. And of course, the next round, Aaron put him down. Aaron beat the boy so bad, the boy started crying. Now, any other time, I'm not letting that happen in my gym. But because the father who came in with his son did not listen to me, was not trying to follow the rules of my gym, his son got hurt. Okay? So when Patrice asked that question, I have to submit and say, yeah, sometimes it's the parents that put these kids in danger after they are told, hey, you might not want to do that. And I promise you, right now they're having this big debate about Tank getting beat up by Brian Norman Jr. at Mustafa's gym. But see, part of that is the arrogance and the ego thinking that everybody down here is soft. I don't know where that come from. Because we fight down here. Okay. So, you got Roy Jones Boxing Club down in Augusta. But to answer Patrice's question, these are the type of things that happen in the gym, and kids are not protected. That ego thing. Especially after I give the fighter instruction, hey, take it light. And then you tell your fighter, go hard on him. So, of course, I'm going to tell my fighter, all right, protect yourself and get him out of here. Okay? So I hope that answers that question. So after you go to the USA Boxing event, you look up a USA Boxing approved gym. This is what I want you to do. After that, and why is it important that they are on the USA Boxing approved list? This is why. Everybody that works there has to get a background check. If there is anything that happens, your child is insured, is covered, and the regulations is covered by USA Boxing policy. Now, you go on and you take your child to a hole-in-the-wall boxing gym if you want to. They get hurt, nobody's going to do anything about it because you took them in there and signed a waiver or took them in there and gave them permission to do whatever, and then somebody gets your child just to make a highlight reel in the gym. Family, that's on you. That's on you not protecting your child. Let me pull this picture back up. That is on you not protecting your child. How I do this, family? We're going to go to stop sharing. We're going to share another one just to be a reminder to everybody. Okay? And see, a lot of our sisters who are single moms, I want you to know when you watch this, that there are USA Boxing scholarships, and your child don't even have to be a champion. All they have to do is be enrolled in USA Boxing for 3 years and apply for it. I forgot the name of the scholarship. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. USA Boxing Scholarship. Coming right up, families. Coming right up. Because I don't want you all thinking that I'm lying to you. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you right here. Hold on. 6 guests, share. We're going to go to the Chrome. All right, so check this out. All right, share. Here we go. I hope everyone can see. And I hope you remember, write some of this down. You can screenshot it because this is the only video I'm doing like this on this. All right. Because I got to keep my foot on these COINTELPRO boxing fans' neck. But this is for the family and those who really love boxing and might want to get the kids in your community in USA Boxing or even your children. Okay. Now, if you look, the scholarships and grants up to $30,000 through USA Boxing. All right. Some of us got kids that's on the basketball team getting no play time, on the football team barely seeing the field, just to say they're playing football, and they not going to get a scholarship or anything for that. Okay. Not only that, think about how much you parents are paying for football or basketball. All of those dues. Boxing is nowhere near as expensive as those sports. None of them. Those sports that are still in public school, y'all know, the parents know, cost the parents an arm and a leg. Family, you can take your child, you can get them training, you can train them, you can start training them yourself, because the first 9 weeks, your kid is going to be training. They're not going to be learning much as far as boxing. So the steps, let's got it. All right. First step, we take our kid to a USA Boxing event. Second step, we find a USA Boxing approved gym. All right. Between that time, your child needs to be training. It's very simple. Your child needs a heavy bag. Your child needs a jump rope. Okay. Push up, sit up, and get them running. Okay. Get them running. They need to run to start building their mental capacity and getting their bodies in shape. All right. Some people are trying to get away from the running because they don't think you need to run that much for the short rounds in amateur boxing. But it's not just about cardio. It's also about their mental toughness. That's why the Navy SEALs still run. Airborne paratroopers still run. The best warriors in the world still run. Okay. Been doing it for thousands of years. And you don't have to pay a bunch of money for you to get your child in shape. You buy them a little heavy bag. Even if you want to get them a year to train, family, you buy them a little heavy bag and you get them to fight that heavy bag for 3 rounds at first, then 6 rounds. Okay. And that's a fact. Patrice said that cardio is going to test how bad they want it. You see what I'm saying? All right. So follow me. Pay attention. Now, if you have them do cardio, you have them do the heavy bag, they doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and you working them and you see they still want it, then you go ahead and You go ahead and you let them sign up to that gym. Now, after we find the gym, you still have to do your due diligence. You still have to do it. Okay. If there's anything on social media, you need to go ahead and see, okay, well, how are they sparring in this gym? You know, what's being allowed in this gym? These are things that you need to be asking yourself, because if you put your child in danger and they get hurt, you are never going to forgive yourself. I promise you not. You're never going to forgive yourself. So, boom, we've been to an event. I've got my kid training, right? Got my kid training. It's time to go to the gym. Okay. I want you all to go back and look at all the sparring footage of Devin Haney. Bill is right there, alert and alive. He's always right there with his son to make sure things are on the up and up. Okay. To my sisters, check me out. Do not leave your child. Do not leave your child at the boxing gym. Okay? Don't do it. Because you can leave your child at the gym and then get a call. Hey, sister, we need you to come to the hospital. You know, an accident happened. That's what they're going to say. An accident happened. A few of the fellows was playing around and, you know, somebody got hurt. Okay. So I got a question. Do you think it's late for a 19-year and 7-month-old guy to make it pro in boxing? My brother always asks me that. All right. Ooh. All right. Check it out, family. Now, I will tell you this. Well, let me ask you this, Shayla. Has your brother fought at all before? Or is this like his first time getting into boxing and he wants to go pro? Tell me that and I can give you a definitive answer. All right. I can definitely give you a definitive answer. You know, if you leave your child at the gym, your child might be in the boxing ring with a professional just trying to get some rounds in, and you leave the gym and you put your 19-year-old, I'm sorry, not a 19-year-old, you put your 12-year-old in there with a 16-year-old Brian Norman Jr. And now your child has a concussion. Family, I've seen it happen. I've seen teenagers get beat to the point where they had a concussion and they're bleeding at night. They're getting calls because they're bleeding out their nose at night. Okay. All right. So, family, no, I'm not opening the stream link right now. Right now, I'm just going to be telling the family how to get their kids on the right path in the sport of boxing, amateur boxing. Moving forward. All right. So let's go back from the beginning. We take them to a USA Boxing event. We have the child training. We've picked the gym. We got the coach. We're watching the coach. We're seeing how things are going. All right. My brother hasn't fought in a ring before or pro, just street fights. All right. 19 years old is late to start, but the great thing about boxing is your brother can test himself in a safe way before trying to go pro. So this is what I would do. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, if he's 5'10", 130, that is actually amazing. 5'10", 130 is good. This is what I would do if your brother's build gives him a great advantage. Okay. If I was your brother, I would find the nearest boxing gym and try to get on a training camp of any fighter. Okay, find fighters who's near him. They don't have to be famous. Okay, find any fighters who are in camp, who need rounds, who need training. All right, do that first, and then he can gauge whether he needs to go pro or not. Okay, but his build is amazing. 5'10", 130 pounds would be a problem for anybody. If he has the work ethic to do it, it can be done. But if he is going to do it, this is very important. If he is going to do it, he has to do it right now. Do not wait another second. Okay? I waited too long. And while in the Army, I was paralyzed for almost a year from jumping out of a plane. Okay? And I no longer could box for years. All right. So time is of the essence, and tomorrow is not promised. By the grace of God, I'm good now, but I'm an old man now. All right. Too old to be boxing. Now you run up on me, I'll throw them, but to compete and to be training, that's different. Okay. So Shayla, I would tell you to tell your brother if he's going to do it, he has to do it now. No more talking about it. He should be training right now. Okay, he should be running miles, preserving himself, but running. Can I ask you how to deal with your head looking so big than your body when cutting weight? I mean, that just comes with it. But if he's 5'10", 130, so are you saying he's 5'10" and wants to box 130, or he's 5'10" and walks around about that size? Because that's different. Because he's very small if he needs to cut weight past that. That means he's built like Fedora. Even skinnier, actually. Yeah, even skinnier. But yeah, he needs to start now and he needs to get into it. You know, the big head look, we all got to deal with it. Cutting weight. Okay. Yes, I am into women's boxing. Patrice X30. I think that Shayla Person a troll coach. Okay, well, if I have any moderators, you know what to do. All right, because I can't do it on my desktop. All right, because if they're trolling, you know, we're trying to have a real discussion about boxing. You know, so that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. But moderators, you know what to do. That's why I gave you the wrenches. Okay. So back to your children. Back to putting them in boxing. Okay. Those of you who have kids, the great thing about it is, or you want to put anybody in boxing around you. If you live in a neighborhood, family, and you see a bunch of kids, they ain't got nothing to do. Hey, man, go to the Goodwill, collect you up some gloves and start teaching. Start teaching old school boxing. Okay. I promise you, 1 or 2 kids out of that bunch is going to love it. All right. Everybody has to start picking up the mantle to keep this going. Everybody. Okay. Coach 67 Sports TV, salute. Hey, it's all good. We're going to keep working though. Okay. Because everyone who says that they love boxing, you find out that a lot of these people don't really love boxing. They just love to hate certain people in boxing. They love to hate brothers speaking intelligently, speaking in unison on preparing our kids for greatness. So we're not going to let no devil or COINTELPRO boxing fan or troll stop what we're doing here. Okay. So if there isn't a moderator that can get him out of here, family, just ignore him because we're going to keep building. All right. The great thing about boxing is you can do that sport year round. You can, your child can be in boxing and do football. They can be in boxing and do track. Okay. Patrice X30, how do you balance light sparring, but also preparing a young fighter for having punch resistance? Okay, that's a great question. All right. On most days, you are doing light sparring, okay? No fighter, listen to me now, no fighter that is preparing for an amateur fight and hasn't fought one yet should be doing any hard sparring until they get close, maybe like a few weeks before their first fight. And even then, it's still not 100% power. You are not trying to knock out your sparring partners in the gym. That is not the time to do that. It's not time to do that, okay? When a good coach has a fighter, okay, they're going to feel just like in that video, in one of those clips, when I'm doing a pressure drill with my fighter, he's hitting my harness as hard as he can. Excuse me, I'm stuttering. But I'm taking the pads and I am hitting him with the pad so that he feels the pressure. Okay, because even when you get hit flush as an amateur, it's still not the same as a pro 8-ounce glove. It's not the same. So there's levels to it. Okay, there's levels and there's balance. Most of our great fighters who are still around, still look good. They didn't do all that hard sparring crap. They didn't. Okay. They sparred hard when they were getting ready, like right before a pro fight or something like that. But they weren't doing that crap in the amateurs. They weren't. You can use your speed and take off the power a little bit. Okay? Because it only takes 5 pounds of pressure. So even if I'm jabbing you up, I'm hitting you with a right hand here, left hook here. It's firm, it's fast, but I'm not trying to hurt you. You're still getting your punch resistance. Think of it like this, Patrice. When someone goes to the gym and they're building muscle, they're not trying to lift everything on the bar. If somebody hasn't benched before, a lot of times they got to start at 135, 245-pound plates on the bar. And then they work their way up to get to that 225 if they get there, right? And higher. That's the same thing with boxing. You slowly build them up. That's why in the video I showed you, the way those boys are fighting in the very beginning it's completely different at the end, okay? Because the end of that video is about a year later. So the punches are sharper. Everything is more crisp and more dangerous at that, but they have been trained in a way where they know how to protect themselves. And that is why I tell everyone, don't go in. This is what a day in the gym would be like for me. Before I get my guys for class throughout the day, there would always be some casual boxing fan coming to the gym with some Walmart gloves talking about, do you all spar here? And my question to them would always be, who are you going to spar? Player, who are you going to spar? You're not even in shape. And then they would say, well, hey, I just want to try it. And every single time I let them try it, they leave the ring with a bloody nose, bloody lip. And this is the fighters not even going hard on them. They're just getting pieced up. So if you have, like I always say, just because someone is combative does not mean they want to actually box. A lot of them find out the hard way that, bro, you're not a boxer. You are someone that has a lot of anger that wants to hit something. And you watched a bunch of highlight reels on YouTube and thought you wanted to come into the gym and box, right? Yep. Hypertrophy training doesn't require but 50 to 65% of 1 rep max. Exactly. We talking the same language now. All right. That's that PT talk. Okay. And later on in time, the more we build on the channel, I will go over an OPT. Okay. What is an OPT? I'm glad you said that, Patrice. What is an OPT? An OPT is your optimal performance training method. Okay. So if you have somebody like Canelo, all right, let's say Canelo, he's constantly getting tired at about round 8. Round 8, he gets tired the last few pro fights. All right. That means that there's something going on in his training camp and they are not working on his OPT, because after the first time it happens, me as your fitness trainer, I'm going to acknowledge that in just a second. As your fitness trainer, I'm going to take you to the side. I'm going to say, all right, look, it looks like after you fight for about 25 minutes, even with your rest, you're burning out. So we might need to build your OPT up a little bit and change it. All right. That might look like putting 225 on the sled and doing sprints with it. That might look like putting them on the rope and having them hit the rope after hard sparring. All right. That's your OPT plan. That plan you need to be able to build for your fighter, because no matter what gym you take it to, nobody's going to look after your child like you. Okay. Now, the first place you need to start is USA Boxing. And everyone that follows my channel, when this live is over as well, if you have any questions about your fighter, all you have to do is leave a question in the comment section, and I promise you I will answer it within 24 hours. I will answer it, and if I don't have the answer, I will send you to the right place. All right. Felix Nunez, how strange is it then when someone like Wilder is able to succeed to the extent he did in the sport? So let me talk about that. All right. There is this misconception, not you, Felix, but a lot of casual boxing fans think that Wilder became pro, and because of his strong right hand, he's just laying dudes out, and that's all it was. Okay, that couldn't be further from the truth. Even though Wilder started late, Wilder, for his size as a heavyweight, he went through the process. He went through the USA Boxing amateur process and got a bronze medal as an Olympian. That is not a small feat. There are Golden Glove champions who have not become an Olympian. All right. But because his right hand is so powerful, and when he became pro, he was laying everybody out. All right. That's what they started to say. But Wilder wasn't just looking for the right hand in the amateurs. The man was boxing. If you all go watch old Wilder amateur fights, even though, yes, sometimes he might swing wild, he still might land that hard right hand, but the brother was boxing. There's no one, okay? And this is why boxing is suffering. There are people who believe that we are going to have the best of the best and they not go through the furnace of affliction. And it's not going to happen. People think that because Mike Tyson was this street dude and went to the boys' home that it created this magnificent fighter. No, training created that. Cus D'Amato's guidance, leadership, and Tyson's aggression did that. Okay, all the greats, majority of them, went through some type of furnace of affliction when it comes to chasing the smoke, which is why if our fighters are not fighting the best, fighters in the other countries that do have centralized coaching systems, they're going to overpass us. I feel it. Prophetic message. If you all pay close attention, the Ukrainians are getting better and better and better. Matter of fact, if you look at the Ukraine Olympic team, okay, you will see that what they do is they take some of the best things that, whether it's the Cuban boxing team or the American boxing team, they use the Schultz table. All right. If anyone doesn't know what that is, look up Schultz table. Okay. That's why all their fighters are so mentally tough. Okay. The Schultz table, if you look that up, I think it's SCHULTZ, Schultz table, and you add that to some of your fighters' inventory. Listen, they're gonna be some bad people, okay? But I'm not gonna give all the secrets. I'll lead you to water, but I ain't gonna tell you everything, okay? Some stuff you gotta go through the furnace of affliction as a trainer and a coach as well. All right. Patrice X30 said, for those interested in starting their own gym, how do you go about marketing, getting clients in the beginning for your two gyms? Okay, so for me, what I did, I have a crazy story. All right. So when I opened up my first gym, family, COVID hit. All right. COVID hit, and a city ordinance came out where basically, y'all remember, you got to be 6 feet apart or something like that. So, man, I remember like it was yesterday. I got on Amazon Prime and I ordered 20 of these long plastic dividers that would cover a whole person's area where they would fight. And the first maybe year, when people would come train with me, they would have to train in like this bubble. I think I have a picture of it still, but they would have to train in this square. Well, what I would do is, when I first got out there, I would put on Instagram and Facebook, and I put a deal out. I said, if you come train with me for physical training, because I'm also a fitness coach, for those of you that don't know, haven't realized that by now. That's why some of my shorts are me in the gym, in commercial gyms like LA Fitness, Crunch. What's the other one? It's LA Fitness, Crunch, Planet Fitness, UFit. Okay. Got on there. I offered a deal. You could come in, work out with me, and I would train your child for free. Okay. I did that. I did a Black History Month special. Just bring your kid in for a free session, because I knew if I could get him in, they were gonna stay. How else? So it was a lot of social media. I would go down to the park sometimes and I would train grown men at the park. So if somebody hit me up and was like, hey, like my boy Charles, he said, hey coach, I need to get some pad work in. I said, all right, let's go down to the ballpark, because I know the kids are having like some type of baseball tournament. Almost 9 times out of 10, a parent will come up to me and be like, hey, do you train kids too? Right? Because even though kids might not want to box, I've trained a lot of girls whose fathers have come and said, hey, she need to know how to defend herself. All right. So a lot of my start was off of that. Social media, getting out there in the field, letting people see me and what I do. Because it's one thing to say you're a coach, because everybody want to call themselves a coach. It's another thing when somebody sees you teaching somebody something, they say, dang, I need my child to know that. I need my child to know how to slip that and go to 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, how to hit that liver, how to dig your knuckles into somebody's kidneys, the soft spots above the chest, the throat, all right, how to cut their eyes open, things like that. I don't mean to get that violent, family, but yeah, that's basically how, I promoted that. Now, the second gym, Patrice, was easy, because once I had my first gym up, I mean, people knew in that area, Coach Hudson down there. Even if you would ride by, you would see my boys running and calling cadence around town, and people would be like, man, who are these black dudes running around calling cadence like the Army? People knew, eventually called on that's Coach Hudson and his boys. All right. So that's what I did. But anyone who wants to start that, do you still believe black trainers should gatekeep our style when training others, especially seeing how our style gets copied yet disrespected in boxing? Oh, Patrice, gonna get me fired up. This is what I believe. Okay. Our style, a lot of people forget. And if anyone has any more questions as far as the USA boxing thing, just put it in the comments when the live is over. But Patrice brought up a good point. I want to talk about that. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a second. Who remembers when they first started showing the pad work that Floyd Mayweather Sr. and Roger Mayweather were doing on All Access? And who remembers how they used to joke about how we were doing our styles, disrespecting Skull and Bones? I remember when Zab Judah fought Floyd and he was doing the 52 blocks and people were trying to make fun of it. But now you have European fighters doing the Philly shell. It is so disrespectful, and it's part of it is our fault. Because, I mean, look at it. Even after all of the racist rants that have gone on in boxing in the last few years, there should have been a ban, at least on those fighters, and there wasn't. Those fighters were still allowed to come into black-owned gyms with black fighters. But not only that, you got kids there. So I started realizing, man, hey, these things are going to happen because of some of ours who refuse to just be men. See, this right here, what I'm talking about, isn't even about being on code. It's about you being a damn man. You mean to tell me that this dude can disrespect your whole race? Talk about your mama, your daddy, just everybody, and you still say, hey, come on and box with us at our gym. Come on around our children. You see someone who's not even stable and you still say, well, yeah, come on and be around us. You deserve every consequence you're going to get. Every consequence. See, you can't go to Brazil and disrespect their dancing martial art and stay around. They would get you out of there fast and in a hurry. You can't go to China and talk crap about Wing Chun and stay around. At least trying to do it, they would get you up out of there. Okay, you can't go to Russia and try to talk about their grappling system, use it, and then stay around. It is only us. It is only some of our brothers who allow this disrespect and still teach them. It was I forget the fighter's name, old school brother. I seen a video of him teaching Tio, going over, things with Tio. I seen a video of Sugar Ray Leonard and Ryan Garcia, y'all. I seen Sugar Ray Leonard trying to teach Ryan Garcia how to throw his left hook better, and Ryan said, well, no, I do it like this. Now, why does that matter? Why does that matter? I'm going to tell you why. You could never disrespect Mexicans like that and then be seen with Julio Cesar Chavez and still be seen with Juan Manuel Marquez and them teaching you a damn thing, because they're not going to let you do it. It's only us that we allow people to do that. So, Patrice, to your question, I will tell you this. All of us aren't doing that. Okay? See, in my gym, whether you was black, whether you were Mexican, whether you called yourself white, there were certain things that you were not going to do in my gym. There wasn't going to be no race disrespect. You were not going to disrespect each other as men. And you're not going to disrespect this gym. So, I've kicked fighters out of the gym for crazy stuff they put on social media. All right. You can't be an athlete and a gangster at the same time. You just can't. Felix Nunez, what's up? What you mean by B? What's going on? You can't come into the gym and be both. You on social media throwing up gang signs, you got to go. Because you're putting everybody in this gym in danger. You're putting racist stuff online, hey, you got to go. You got to get your ass up out of here. Plain and simple. Felix Nunez, what I don't understand. Would you put that beef? What's that about? It is disgusting, Patrice. It is very disgusting, but that's what we deal with. That is what we deal with. And now that everybody's getting a wake-up call, people are trying to get quiet and trying to act like it's bruh man this, bruh man that. Reddy or Raheem, now he want to be, the brother again. Well, hey man, I've been supporting you all these years. Man, you was man, let me leave that alone. Let me leave Reddy or Raheem alone and let him go on Sean Zatel's platform and talk bad about black elite fighters. Okay. Boxing has always been a tribal sport. Okay. And I'm sick of the gaslighting where when we start talking about what's going on with our people, other people feel that they can or they have the authority to tell us anything. And you don't. You don't have the authority. Because what do I look like as a black man going into your house telling you how to deal with your people? You would tell me to get my black ass on, right? And you would have every right to, because that's your kingdom and those are your people. When Puerto Ricans are waving their flag and it's one of their fighters, hey, I don't say nothing to them. When Mexican fighters are holding up their flag and everything, hey, that kid you all see me standing with, which is one of my most decorated fighters, is Mexican. And the shoes he used to wear actually were the colors of the Mexican flag. To the point where he was doing something one day, and I told him to remember who you are and where you come from. Remember the warrior spirit in you and never back down from nobody. See, I don't have to make you into me, but every man, no matter what race he is, you got to be a man and stand up. And it's a lot of these get along, want to get along with everybody brothers that are going to make it hard for everybody coming behind them. And all of these brothers are getting a wake-up call. Keyshawn got the wake-up call. Shakur getting a wake-up call right now. To the point where, honestly, what I think they're trying to do is get in Shakur's head. I don't even think it's about Tom and Jerry or whatever. If you look at Shakur's tweets, you can see he's visibly getting upset about what's being said. But Shakur, don't let them knock you off your square. Step on that man. Step on him. This right here is when the mental toughness comes in. Let's talk. Step on that man. Patrice said, seeing Sugar Hill. Hold on. I'm trying to see your message. Okay. Seeing Sugar Hill team up with Fury against Wilder and Derrick James team up with Ryan against Dev is embarrassing, and the world takes notice of our lack of code. Well, let me say this. The world takes notice of our lack of code, but that's also because the world knows what time it is when we unify. See, when events happen in Atlanta, you might feel some type of way. You might be racist. You might just be a complete deplorable human being. But let me tell you what you're not going to do. I bet you don't step out of line. I bet you don't disrespect one of us on some racial stuff, because you gonna get dealt with. You will not make it down the street. But that's part of the unity. And trust me, we got our problems, but that's part of unity. See, when Bernard Hopkins threw down the Puerto Rican flag, they tried to kill that man. They tried to tear his ass up. He ain't touched nobody. That was just they flag. Okay. So listen, brothers, because I know some of them gonna watch it. Because I know they get tired of hearing me. I know that there are brothers who act like they my brother. And when I get on the Brother Drew Titans channel, or I get on Champ Size channel, or they hear me on the General's channel, I know they're like, man, here this righteous, uptight brother go. I know it. But see, here's the thing. Somebody got to tell it like it is. And someone has to tell the truth, plain and simple, no matter who like it. Because we got kids coming up, whether you know it or not. See, now Derrick James, that was a good point. Derrick James has a gym. You have all of these fighters from down there in your gym trying to respect you and look up to you, and then you bring Ryan Garcia in. So as our leader, as somebody that's supposed to look out for us and our best interests, damn, man. This dude said he wanted to dig up George Floyd's body and do it again. Family, you're going to be held accountable for the things that you do and you say. You can say whatever you want and you can do whatever you want, but you must be prepared for the consequences that come with it, family. Plain and simple. I see brothers right now on Facebook. This is why I don't argue with people from outside of our community, because I don't feel any way. There's no emotion that really is invoked from a guest talking on matters they don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because at that point, you just being a devil anyway. And I know that you walk the streets and don't say nothing to nobody. You just get on social media and talk shit from the safety of your home, you know. But when our own people do it, when I hear grown men still dragging Devin Haney, when basically Devin is actually one of the faces that is saving the sport that's dying in front of us. Okay, think about it, family. Canelo about to be gone. Canelo's about to be gone. Bud about to be gone. Who's up next? All right. They're pussyfooting around with David Benavidez. He's not going to get the fight that he should get to make him the next face. What should be happening right now, let's get into it. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but let's get into it. What should be happening right now for the sport of boxing is that they should be preparing Canelo to pass the torch to David Benavidez. That's what should be happening right now. Now, somebody tell me why the machine don't want to get behind David. Don't give me that crap about Mexican pride and all. No. There is something going on. Why won't they get behind David the way they tried to get behind Canelo before he fought Floyd? And let me tell you, that little small time excuse they keep using that Canelo was too young, was inexperienced. Canelo had 30-something pro fights and was undefeated. The man went pro at 16? So miss me with that. And Floyd was an old man. Miss me with that. Because if you would have been older and Floyd would have been young, you still would have got beat, brother. So talk to me. What is it really that you all don't want to pass the torch? Hey, ask yourself this question, people. How come every single time a torch passing is supposed to happen, stay with me, every single time it's supposed to happen, somebody comes and blocks it? Now think about all the great fights we would have had if Bob Arum would have allowed Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford to fight when they were supposed to. You see, I keep telling y'all, these people at the top of the sport in these promotion companies, these commissions, these boards, they do not give a damn about what we want as fans. They don't give a damn about the well-being of these fighters. They are parasites. They are wicked, spineless, cowardly people who had no talent, so they had to go into business. They went into business to become a puppet master, and now that they are there, they feel like God. But you all are not God. Felix Nunes said because Canelo still has too much influence and money-making potential to the powers that be. I'm going to tell you, the powers that be right now suck. The powers that be are the reason why American boxing is dying. So I don't know who's at the front of this vehicle, but they need to pull over and let somebody else drive this mother. Because over the last 20 years, they driving us straight down this steep ass hill, and somebody need to pull the emergency brake and back this hoe up. So bad to the point where the USA boxing team is losing funds, y'all. So bad, guess what? It's no longer the mission for a lot of fighters to go to the Olympics. Not only that, the last Olympics, boxing wasn't a part of it because they were going to permanently, listen, family, they were going to permanently remove boxing from the Olympics. I have the letter in my email. The International, International Fight League, the IFL, the Olympic Committee sent me a letter and said, not just me, y'all, they sent all coaches, all the USA boxing coaches got this letter. And they said that, hey, listen, due to corruption, the sport will permanently be gone. It took people to fight for us to get the next games to come. USA, the boxing category was not going to be in the Olympics again if it was not for those people that fought for it to come back. I forget the guy's name. He's like from Germany or something, but yeah, this is real. You know, when they talk about the powers that be, speaking of powers that be, when are y'all going to make a rule that if you cheat, you get a lifetime ban? The powers that be, when are you going to make a rule if there is any evidence of glove tampering, you get a lifetime ban? But you all want me to believe that the problem is running. You all want me to believe that fighters moving is the issue, but it ain't PEDs. Why is everybody so silent about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. being captured at the border? But let one of these American black fighters get in trouble. It's going to be on ESPN, who no longer even gives a damn about boxing. When Tank was in that car situation, it was all over the news. When Floyd was in his situation, it was all over the news. When Bill Haney couldn't get to Australia, it was all over the news that Bill couldn't get to Australia because he's a felon. So y'all miss me with the hypocrisy. Miss me acting like you don't know and see what's going on. Now listen, family, I never want you thinking in your mind that this is victim blaming or us crying. This is us telling it like it is. Because if somebody's going to tell you to get over it and this, that, and the third, be straight with them and tell them, well, if you are a bigot and you're hiding it, stop cowering and get away from me. Stop trying to act like you with us and you're not. Stop trying to act like you vibing and you really just are a blood sucker of our essence. You are a blood sucker of the good feeling we give you, the light we give you, but the whole time you are an enemy. You are an enemy to me. And see, if enemies are dealt with the way they're supposed to, let's talk about it, y'all. A lot of this crap that's going on wouldn't be going on. Quick little history lesson. You know why they were able to walk with that Confederate flag through the Capitol building in DC during January 6th? Do you know why they were able to do that? It's a few reasons, but let me tell you all this. During the Gullah Geechee Seminole Wars in the South, our people, whether you want to call them Native, whether you want to call them Black, fought Andrew Jackson and the military twice. Okay? These battles and wars went on for about 100 years down there. Okay? But we had traitors among us that started helping the army. So Crazy Horse, who eventually went to Mexico, the original Mexicans from back then, y'all, were our allies. Okay. And yes, there are Black Mexicans as well. What we would call Black Mexicans. They don't call themselves that, but we had allies in Mexico. So when the Confederates, when they lost, they thought that they were going to go down to Mexico and do that BS down there. And do you know what happened? The Mexicans and the Blacks that were in Mexico at the time chased the Confederacy all the way out to parts of South America. Chased them all out. And they actually set up a Confederate town down, it was thousands of them, down in South America because they did not want to surrender and they wanted to live out their hate. But if we would have done in America what they did in Mexico, we wouldn't have none of this. That's why you go to Mexico, you're not going to see that BS going on with the Confederate flags and a racist dip chewing coward feeling like they have some type of stance. When they lost, we should have dealt with them the way you deal with a traitor of a nation. All those flags should have been burned. Most of the monuments that are here now didn't come back up until the 1920s under the leadership of the Daughters of the Confederacy. See, there's consequences when you don't deal with an enemy the way you should deal with the enemy. And some of you brothers are about to learn that. Some of you are about to learn. But family, maybe we'll do a history live one of these days, because especially with Patrice X30, we get to talking in here. All right. But family, I hope that this live gave you an idea of how to protect your children, how to find them the right gym, the right coach, training them, what to do and what not to do. And if you don't, please leave it in the comment section. All right. I will see you all later on in the week. It is fight week. Can't wait to speak to you all after Shakur steps on Zepeda and he handles his business. If he don't, man, y'all gonna hear from me. All right. Peace to the family. Peace to the chat. And it's always smoke to the COINTELPRO boxing fans. I appreciate everybody that came, everyone that stopped through. It's all love. Peace.